Hello and welcome back to You Up for More. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. We love these YouTube exclusives.
We do.
We only do them on YouTube. If you're a subscriber, you get the audio, but this is really the way to enjoy them, is to watch them. We have video we're putting up. This is a multimedia experience. We want to hear from you in the comment section, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you would like to see from this page in the future. That's always helpful.
Always
if you're
helpful.
because today we're doing a news story. This is like SVU, straight from the news, straight from the headlines.
Yes,
Like
we're going to do a deep dive.
a deep dive of sorts, because when we see dating news, we want to discuss it in a place like this. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, we are a dating podcast, modern dating. We talk about the modern issues with dating, the technology and dating coming together in 2025. Any question you have about relationships, dating, anything that's going on in your life with that, listen to the You Up podcast. Email us, uup@betches.com. So we have an email in front of us.
Yes.
Do you want to read the email first and then we get into it?
Why don't you read the email?
Okay. J&J, love the podcast. I actually found you through your YouTube exclusive on the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce engagement announcement. We love that because if you go back, you can see us live react to them getting engaged.
IRL.
So who better to ask this question than my favorite dating experts? Recently, Travis was on his podcast, New Heights, with his brother, Jason Kelce. They had George Clooney as a guest. During the episode, both Travis and George mentioned that they've never had a fight with their significant other. Travis specifically said he and Taylor Swift have never once argued in their roughly 2.5 years together. My first reaction was, what? I feel like this couple is doomed. I think it's healthy to have disagreements and resolve them. Not to throw negative vibes, but are we even going to see a wedding? Is their first fight going to happen and then they won't make it back? Would love to hear your thoughts on this headline. My English teacher and gym teacher are doomed. P.S. I think George Clooney is lying. His wife, Amal, is literally a lawyer. So what do you think of this? So they've been together 2.5 years. July 2023, Travis attends the Taylor Eras Tour. September 2023, Taylor attends her first Chiefs game. December 2023, Taylor confirms they're dating. February to March 2024, Travis travels to multiple Eras Tours concerts. June to July 2024, both attend each other's big events. December 2024, Taylor speaks more openly, confirming public couple status. August 2025, Travis invites Taylor on his podcast, the 26th of, and then the day that she'll live in infamy, August 26, 2025, engagement revealed on Instagram. So that is the 2-year relationship, or 2.5 years that they've been together.
That's a couple that, has been through some ups and ups and has really endured a lot together.
Right.
And so, if they were going to fight, they would have fought by now.
Right. Listen, again, I'm sure they would have had I'm sure all these trips, they had the argument of one getting the upgrade and the other getting left in coach.
There was that beach trip they took where they were sitting on a towel.
Oh,
on the
I
floor.
remember that. I made a video about it.
That would sort of, if someone brought me to the beach, didn't have a chair, that would...
Game over. I would have ended it right there and then.
Travis and Taylor, if you're listening, we just came up with 3 different things we can fight about.
So what do you think of this?
Let's watch the clip.
Let's watch the clip.
And then we'll,
Let's take a
we're
look.
all looking at the same hard evidence.
I love this conundrum because a lot of the world we live in is comparisons.
Yes.
You hear something about a relationship.
They seem to be doing well. I don't do that.
Right. And also relationships are kind of the secret comparison. We don't know, like a fight to me could be different than a fight to you. An argument to me could be different than an argument to you.
One person's tiff is another person's argument.
Right. And also you're hearing from men.
Yes.
So these are the men in the relationship saying we never argue. And then it's like, even when I'm in a relationship, I'm like, is this what love feels like? Is everyone else feeling this way? You have nothing to compare it to. So when you hear these little tidbits from celebrities, you go, oh, what is that?
Right.
Is that how we're all doing it?
Should I be more like that?
Right. All right. So let's see it.
You claim that you and your wife haven't gotten in a fight in 10 years.
That's right.
Are you lying?
No, I'm not lying. Travis, shall we ask you the same questions?
Well, it's only been 2.5 years, and you're right. I haven't gotten in an argument in 2.5.
Yeah. All right.
Never once.
Honestly, neither of us are going to win the argument, so why get in it?
There we go.
There you go.
Oh,
That's a
dad
smart man right
jokes.
there.
You know.
What's the secret? Just staying out of the argument
Happy wife,
altogether?
happy life.
Dude, I'm 64 years old. What am I going to argue about at this point? I'm like,
Yeah.
I met this incredible woman that, she's beautiful and smart, and she stands for all the most important things that I believe in the world. And I can't believe how lucky I am. So what am I going to fight about? I'm like,
It's a great answer.
it's
Damn, that's a good one.
too late to do it. Yeah, you can use that if you want.
I'm stealing it for
putting
sure.
in. I'm just taking notes this whole time, big guy. You don't even know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's
Man,
bullshit.
It really shows. Well, I have a lot to say on this.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a bullshit answer.
I think it is.
Well, I think it's an answer you give to, if you're not divorced, you're not fighting. Do you know what I mean? Like
There's difference between fighting and have had a fight.
right. Well, I think a lot of men think of fights in this term. Like
Are
we're
we a fighting couple?
right. We're okay. We have our fights, but like we're fine.
Well, then
so
say
there's
that.
no fights.
Right. So say that.
Right. Well,
I think it's like
How old is-
Here's why I don't like what he said.
okay.
I think it gives credence to this thing that a lot of men think, which is like, with the perfect person, I won't have to do any work. I won't have to have a disagreement. And if I have a disagreement, it means the person's not right for me.
Right.
And I think that men like
That is a fair. I'm sitting here going, yes, as a single guy
Right.
who's dating and looking to meet someone. I mean, I just tweeted something. I was at a bar the other night, and I put on Threads and Twitter. I can read it to you right now. This actually, I didn't think this would come up, but the thread was, I was sitting at a bar because it was after a show. And I said, if I met the love of my life today, then I'd be 60 when my kids graduated high school, and other thoughts you have alone at a bar on a Sunday. So that was my tweet.
Okay.
And it did really well on Threads. It had like a big reaction. And then one person wrote back something along the line, and it really annoyed me. They were like, how do you know the love of your life wants kids? And I'm like, that's the dumbest,
the
most
point
divisive
of the-
response,
right.
because they basically are saying that the love of your life could be someone who disagrees with you on having kids. In my mind, that is not going to be the love of my life. I would be with someone who would agree on something that would be a big subject to me.
Sure.
To say that the love of my life could be someone that wouldn't want to have kids, that's kind of living in this weird like rom-com world of like, oh, we just couldn't be because we had this one huge disagreement. I think it's actually like insanity. And it made me annoyed, but it is also, to take the note from what you're saying, like in my male brain and the way I think of things, that is very much my viewpoint of like, I would never date someone who doesn't want to have kids.
Sure.
That's
And
not the love
right.
of my life. I wouldn't even give them a chance.
I think
You
that's
know?
fine.
Right, but I'm saying
Right,
it
yeah.
goes to the point of like, I think a lot of men think that way, where it's like, no, I don't even get to point C if A and B don't make sense.
Right. Well, it's like, why would I be with someone that I would argue with? I think is
Right.
like maybe the male feeling, which to me is setting a very unrealistic standard for what you're supposed to be looking for in a partner. It's not someone who agrees with you about everything. It's
Right.
not someone who you don't ever have to compromise.
Right, and I would think that having kids or not would be one of the things I'm allowed to go.
Yes.
I wouldn't, but that does trickle down to what you're saying, where it's like, well, I'm actually looking for no trouble. I'm looking to change zero.
Well, I think not looking to change your stance on wanting children, perfectly acceptable. Not looking to change your stance on, I want my kids to go to this specific school. Why would I date someone who doesn't want their kids to go to this school?
Right, that's the trickle down. Yeah,
Right.
and that's where
when
I
you get
go.
to
Maybe
that, right.
that's where I go. I admit to my fault, like
Right.
because the way you're explaining it, I'm like, yeah, that is me. Like I'm not gonna like date someone who doesn't have it all. Like at this point, I'd have to date someone who has, like who's Jewish, but but is chill and has confidence.
But not too much.
But not too much, but has a fat ass and, big titties. Like it's like I'm like looking for this like Frankenstein of a person that doesn't exist.
Right.
So this is kind of to the point of hearing this from a guy, like we have nothing to fight about.
Right, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, I think as a woman to hear that, it's kind of annoying because I think it reinforces just that feeling that a lot of men have of like, in order for something to be worth it, it has to be absolutely seamless all the time.
Right. Well, and then I got annoyed as a poorer person because to me, like for George Clooney, to me, all the arguments come from money.
A lot of them probably would, or how to spend it, or
sacrificing time.
Sure.
So I once opened for a comedian who takes private jets. Okay. I opened for this guy, and when he told me, I was like, the private jet thing, how, he's like, I didn't want to be that guy. And then I started taking him, and it was like getting my life back. He's like, I'm going to get home tomorrow and I'm going to be there for my kid's 7th birthday party. And I'm like, yeah, that's a fight that was fixed with money. So instead of, do I take the job or do I be at my kid's 7th birthday party? It becomes, let's have it all. We'll do it both. And it's also what annoys me about this podcast. Like Travis and Jason, they're not great hosts. They're two fine, lovable guys who had an audience from something else. And now all of a sudden they're great podcasters. That is not what they are to me. Yeah, right. They should go to. They went to the bank of Taylor Swift and got an investment of people. So, and how do you get George Clooney on your podcast? I would love to have George Clooney on here to have a real conversation about dating and relationships. Who would be better to talk to than George Clooney about his dating life instead of that bullshit answer where I would look at him and go, "Don't you think you don't have any fights because you have all the money in the world and you don't have to worry about how you're going to get a sitter for date night?"
Right.
Like that is to me like one of those answers where the problem with the internet is that we all live on the same internet, and some people don't know how to have a conversation that's supposed to be for us normals and peasants that acknowledges the amount of money that they have.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it. I actually think though, even with all the money in the world, there are still things to argue about. And if he said, of course we argue. Of course we've had a fight. It's
right.
We have a 10-year relationship. That's why we have a 10-year relationship. The way we fight is the fights can often just feel like disagreements that we handle with with like a lot of respect, which is something we both learned individually before we got together in our late whatever she was.
Right.
In
that's
the later
that's
stage
a real
of life.
answer.
Yes.
Yeah. And also later stage.
We fight in a nice, constructive way.
Right.
We're not screaming at each other.
Also, what they're not acknowledging, Travis Kelce's what, in his 30s?
He's all right. He's my age.
He's 35.
36.
36. How old's Taylor?
She's about to be 36.
36. They're also not acknowledging when you meet someone after 32.
Right.
You have when you're established in your career, there's a lot of like growing you don't have to do together.
Yeah.
So like the growing is where arguments happen. The discomfort is when you grow. So they've already gone through their discomforts and their growths in a certain way. There's others to go.
Yes.
But that means less fights. That means different fights.
Sure. Less fights, different fights. There is zero chance that Travis and Taylor have never fought. I don't believe it for a fucking second.
Well,
and I mean, he almost seemed like he was joking or saying that he was put on the spot in this thing. And I think he's giving the PC answer of, I was almost like, he's like, oh, of course, it's 2.5 years. Never, not once. I almost thought he was like joking because it's so crazy to me, the idea that they would have never fought doesn't make any sense to me. Especially, what I was thinking? I bet they're fighting about this. Is Taylor Swift came out and promoted. She supported Kamala for president, right? And then Trump, because he's a lunatic, came out and said like he talked shit. I forgot exactly what he said about Taylor Swift, but he was like talking shit about her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out Donald Trump's going to the Super Bowl, and they ask Travis, how do you feel about the president going to the Super Bowl? And this was like right after he like started saying that Taylor Swift was like, what did he say about her?
Swift is just like straight up.
Sure.
Right.
Might just be I hate Taylor Swift. That sounds like him.
That's crazy.
Taylor Swift has no talent, whatever it was.
Sure.
And they asked Travis Kelce, how do you feel about the president coming to the Super Bowl? And he said, it's a really big honor. And I'm thinking, all right, no matter who I am, no matter how much money I have, no matter how famous I am, someone who's talking shit about me, someone asked my boyfriend how they feel about them showing up. They don't just kind of give a neutral answer.
Right.
They're saying it's an honor.
You're not going to fight for me?
Politics aside,
Right.
I would be like, that would be a conversation. That would be a conversation.
Sure.
At least.
Hey, if someone asks you about a guy who says, I have no talent,
Right.
what they, how you feel about them going to one of your games,
Yeah.
it's a little weird you didn't say. But yeah,
That's what I'm saying. There's moments like throughout just the past couple of years, and I'm not like super obsessed with their relationship, but I've seen headlines where I've been like, that would bother me. I'm
Right.
sure that was a
discussion.
against
a
Taylor
talk.
Swift, who never forgets a single thing that anyone has ever said about her.
Fair. Yeah. It is weird for her to all of a sudden have a bad memory.
Right. If it was if I was dating Travis Kelce and that was said, that would be an argument. I think.
Well, there is a thing that they're kind of, George Clooney kind of mentions in this video, and this is kind of how I've felt about relationships. There is nothing here to fight about. Like a lot of men,
there's always
this is, I think a lot of women want the drama, the discussion, the talk, the fire.
right.
And a lot of men are just like kind of cool, me being one of them, with whatever you say. I mean, he even says, George Clooney goes, what do I have to argue about? I don't want for nothing. So
Right.
like
Well, I mean,
that
yeah,
annoys.
money helps you.
Well,
Right,
I
yeah.
think that's where the money thing kind of like makes me look at it. But also you go, when you're George Clooney and you don't have to worry about how, changing the baby,
Right.
you go, and I do have that. And it would annoy everyone I've dated if I was like, we got no house together, we got no kids, we really have no issues. And that was the most annoying thing I could ever say to a
I
partner.
agree. It's an annoying thing to hear.
Right. But that's kind of what these guys are connecting on. They're both sitting there being like, what do I got to fight about?
nothing
I'm a
money
Super Bowl
can't solve.
champion and I own a tequila company.
Right.
Things are great. Like, what am I worried about? Oh, I said the wrong thing about President Trump. My bad. I don't know if it goes that deep with men. And
Right.
they kind of are showing that. Like I think like to assume they have no fights is not the assumption. Like I think that
Well,
they
that's
have
why
fights.
it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like to say that, I think is like,
To not acknowledge.
Right.
But
Like
I think
if-
that's
if-
how little men think of these little, discussions.
right.
I think it's showing, if we use them as our avatars, it's showing, because I've been in that position where I'm like, yeah, I don't think I've ever had an argument. And there's probably women who have dated me like, we had like talks every day.
All the time.
And I'm like, well, those are talks. I didn't care. Whatever happened. We were still together.
Right. Well,
You know,
maybe the disagreements didn't mean as much to you as it did to them.
Right. Generally, they didn't. But I'm also sitting here single now.
Right.
So maybe I needed a little more passion. Maybe I would care more if I cared more about the relationship.
Right.
So maybe these guys don't give a fuck.
Yeah, maybe George-
I think also they're on a
yeah.
public platform. They can only
Right.
say
And
so
I think
much.
That's the other part of
That's
it.
a big part of it.
Right. But I do think it's a disservice to people who are made to feel insecure about their own relationships because they have disagreements or fights or whatever you want to call them. Because I do think that actually makes you a stronger relationship.
Totally. Well, this is why them having a podcast is like the dumbest thing in the entire world. Like, what are we relating to?
Right. Because one of them, if he was on our podcast, I would have said, well, like, how do you handle anything that you disagree on?
Right.
And
What's
if
the
he
last
said,
disagreement
we've
you've
never
had?
disagreed about anything, that would be fucking crazy to me.
Right.
I wouldn't believe that.
There would be a push there.
Right.
And some of these celebrity podcasts that people listen to because they're the only podcast they know about, I follow Taylor, so I like Travis. Good for us. Oh, these are two straight men who I can, who are okay to listen to with
Right.
normal opinions. That just like straight
Yeah.
men with normal opinions don't really get pop off on the internet.
Right.
So like it's
They
like
need right.
that's what frustrates
Well,
me.
that's the other part of
It's-
it too, is like, why are we taking relationship advice or thoughts from George Clooney, who's a wonderful actor,
Mm-hmm.
very attractive, but like, what credibility does he have in the relationship space?
Right. I'd rather hear from him as a fuck boy.
Yeah,
You know,
of
like
everything
I
before and
right.
all.
I think he's more of an expert in that
I'm sure.
sense. But yeah, it's again. I keep bringing it back to this. I'm sorry to sound like I'm a like a socialist, but I'm like,
Too much money.
I think there's I think they should be on a different internet. Like they don't even like this conversation is actually like batshit cuckoo bananas. Like it's just in a world of Willy Wonka money. You know,
Right.
like it's like it doesn't
not
even
relatable.
not relatable at
Yeah.
all. But then the headline is they never fight, and then we have to like chew on it. You know,
Yes.
us peasants are left to digest that and go, well, they don't fight. Why am I arguing all the time?
Right. Do
So-
you believe them?
I do believe them.
You believe that?
I think that they don't care about the discussions that they're brought to them. I think Travis
Well, I guess
Kelce
it's
has
like-
no memory of anything that Taylor has ever been upset about because it hasn't been enough for him to end the relationship.
right.
So, like, you know, for a lot of men, it's does this end the relationship or not? Like, it's like
That's a fight?
Right, that's a fight. Like when I've had women come that I've dated, oh, I don't feel well. You want to go to the hospital? That's like my first move. Do you need water or do you need to go to the hospital? Okay, what else can I do? And they hate it. I do it, and now I do it on purpose because like
Right.
I'm like don't know what to do. And in my later
would start a
years,
fight.
yeah, that's. But in my later years, I've always been like, I'm so sorry. When
What can
someone
I
says
do?
they're sad, I just say I'm so sorry.
No. I'm so sorry.
Like I don't know what else.
You dropped the offer.
Right, no offer.
Yeah.
I mean, if they need something, I'm always there, you know. But I am so
Right.
sorry.
Did you get home safe? If not, I'm not gonna be able to help you. I just want to know.
I just want to know for
Cross
my
it.
own good.
Yes.
Cross it off. Yeah. So,
but
we
yeah,
did it.
that's my thought on.
I think this was a worthwhile discussion.
I agree. If you agree with us, disagree on anything we said, write in the comments. If
Yeah.
you think they're pure-hearted and everyone who's fighting in their relationship at any point is a horrible relationship, let us know.
That's the problem too. They never said that. I don't fight doesn't mean everyone who fights is a loser.
I think don't you think there's a little smugness in George Clooney's?
I think there's a
way of
lack of
saying it.
acknowledgement of the world around him. I think that's how
Right.
shielded he is from real people.
Well, that's kind of how
we
he's
don't
saying
fight.
it.
Like I'm
This
sitting
is how
here.
it should be. It's
Right.
kind of how he's like, I think, saying it like that.
Right. Well,
I found because he says I found the woman whose values align with everything
Right.
whose view on the world I agree with, who fight. That doesn't fucking matter. That's all shit. That's great to have. That's not why you would fight. You're not fighting
Right.
about no one's saying you should be like fighting about the Middle East. Like you're just fighting about like something going on with like a little thing that happened with your kids.
Right.
Or like the data, like, do you know
but
what I mean?
again, that goes back to the
Right.
money to me
But that's why it's
because
annoying that he's saying it like I married this person who like is perfect, and so why would I fight with her?
the only person that should look at that and feel bad about themselves is a 64-year-old rich man who's arguing every day.
I guess.
You know, like, if
it's
that-
the exact
Right. If you're the exact
Right.
same as George Clooney and you have all the choice in the world and all the money and the ability to like not live that way, you're a fucking idiot.
fair.
You know, but you know, I have friends that are like, they're like, divorce, I can't even afford a divorce. Like that's not even on their mind.
Right.
You know, there's no, you know, the money involved in it is just like a part of that conversation. That's what puts pressure on everything. When there's no pressure, you know, George Clooney's living his life like a 27-year-old man who doesn't need to get married or have kids and no clock. You know,
Right.
he's still living
He
that
still
way.
gets all that stuff. Though,
Right.
Yeah.
So
All right. We did it.
we did it. We solve dating every Wednesday and Friday here on YouTube as well as podcasts. Subscribe. We would love to have you to subscribe. We have extras all the time. We love doing this. We love doing this show. We want you to love it as much as we love doing it. So like, comment, subscribe. Back next week or a couple weeks. Boom.
Bye.